All right, complete comic haul for January of 2026. And starting this month, I'm just gonna, well, not starting this month, so it might end up changing, but unless the books come in this first of the next month, so it's like April 1st, and the March books have just now come in, but the last of them just came in, then obviously the 31st of March, I'll be like, hey, here's this come in so far. But for like today, the 27th of January, the rest of the books came in, so might as well do it now. But I still will upload it on the first of the next month, just in case. Again, like I said before, like I've always said, if I get some surprise comics, like I could have done my complete Christmas haul, a complete December 2025 haul, but then 2 days later, or like a few days later, I got in those Green Lantern books, so I was glad I waited. But that can happen. So between today and the 31st, if I get any new books, obviously this video will not be uploaded, so I'll delete it, and then, or I might just repurpose it, like push it, to the 30th or something like that, and then I'll say, oh, I got these books too, and then there you go. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into it. This book had already, the binding has broke off. I don't know if it was the third-party seller or not, but this is PX. The third-party seller's fault or not, but this is PX Book 1, A Girl and Her Panda. It's already kind of hard to find, so like at a good price, like an agreeable price. So I guess I'm just gonna keep this copy. But I have bought a new copy of A Book for Lesser Crimes, as you will soon see here. But here's the artwork for a PX. And this is written by Eric A. Anderson and Manny Tremblay, illustrated by Manny Tremblay. But letters done by Eric A. Anderson, which I found kind of interesting. I believe this is also an OGN. I don't think this was released as issues before. And also, if you're going to do widescreen comics, I would say do it like this. This is at least easier to read than Private Eye was, which I still don't have on my shelf, by the way. This I actually can put on my shelf comfortably, so to speak, but Private Eye is just like way too cumbersome. It's like even wider than this, like double this. I want to say it's doubly as wide as this is. It's like really annoying. And I get why I do widescreen comics, and it's a new format, it's a different format. Thus, you can tell like different kind of stories, and I obviously know why they do widescreen comics, but it's just reading them is a kind of pain in the ass, and this isn't as much of a pain. I think so. Gets point across to you, I'd argue. So there's 2 books in the series. Here's book 2, but I don't show the artwork for book 2. If I have both, I bought both books in 1 month. I just show the artwork for book 1. Now, if I bought book 1 this last month and book 2 this month, obviously I'll show the artwork for book 2 because it's the only one I got this month. But I got both in 1 month, so just volume 1. And the binding did not break off volume 2, so either it's a printing error on Image Comics' part, or it's just really old, or it was like the third-party seller trying to pull a fast one. Which honestly, it just happened today when I was showing the artwork in the last cut, because I got interrupted, so I had to do a new cut. So to be fair, they probably didn't even notice. But that's why I'm always really careful when I show the artwork, especially the compendiums. I just don't want to affect the binding just because I'm showing the artwork for a book that, honestly, to be fair, does that even really need to be done? I'd argue yes. Now, I'm not going to do full-on overviews unless I've read the book, and even then, I hesitate to say that whether or not I would end up doing that, like how Yearman Condition does his. But maybe if I ever get Preacher, if I ever get those omnibuses, I can do like a full-on overview. It's probably the only time I break that rule. And even then, it's not like I definitely won't do it or definitely will do it. Time will tell. Parade with Fireworks, which I'm glad you second cut because I definitely forgot to mention who the author was. And that is Mike Cavallaro, who I believe is also the artist for Parade with Fireworks. Collecting all 2 issues of this very, very mini series. Like it's the shortest amount of issues you can have for a mini series and not call it a one-shot. So yeah, art and story is Mike Cavallaro. I wonder who the publisher is now of Image. Back then it was, at the time of this release, it was Jim Valentino. I think Shadowline, he just does that line of comics. I could be wrong, though. Like how Robert Kirkman does Skybound. Again, could be wrong. I'm talking the mainline Image book, like for, the next one we'll see. Because these are, first three are all Shadowline. Here's the artwork. I don't just like this. Your guys just do it better. I don't know, I just feel like the first two pages I was showing weren't as good. I don't know why, though. And I thought that. They did. Then we got Lazarus Volume 8, which collects the first 6 issues of Lazarus Fallen. So it's Lazarus Volume 8 Fallen. And this series just kind of came out of nowhere. The return kind of came out of nowhere. And by that I mean, unlike Saga, where it was announced well before the solicitations, I want to say at least, this just showed up in the solicitations. Like, oh yeah, Lazarus Fallen issue 1, that's coming out 3 months from now. And then they had an announcement, like a little article on it on Image Comics' website. But it just, that's what I mean by kind of came out of nowhere. Like, it was just in its solicitations. Just, yep, here it is. It's like all the other books. Like, oh yeah, Spawn Scorched, 85, Spawn, the 50th spin-off of the year, that issue 417. And, oh, here's a Lazarus Fallen, by the way. And then another Spawn spin-off book. There's so many Spawn spin-off books. It's like, I want to say 5 per month at least. It's crazy. And that's why I'll never get into Spawn. I already am kind of annoyed with the whole, here's the spin-off to the series that you're already collecting, and another one, and another one. Then tying into the spin-off is also a mini-series, but it's unrelated. It's out of continuity, but it's also in continuity. It's also part of the event of Spawn, of all the crossovers, and it's just really annoying. That's why I like that's why I like Image, because for the most part, there's like, oh, Lazarus, here's all Lazarus. Of course, this is an ongoing series, so you need several volumes, but it's not like you need to collect anything else by Greg Rucka from the same publisher to have read all of Lazarus. If you just want Lazarus, you just want a story of Lazarus, all the characters in Lazarus, all you gotta do is collect the trades. That's why I like Image. But then, and independent comics publishers in general. But then it's the Hellboy. Spawn is the Hellboy of Image Comics, but even Hellboy isn't as bad as Spawn is. But just having like a bunch of mini-series, and then actually, no, Hellboy actually, they're about the same. Not nowadays, but in general, they're about the same. Because then you have BPRD, and then Lobster Johnson, all these other spin-offs to Hellboy. So to be fair, it is kind of as bad. Actually, artwork for Lazarus. So this is what I was just saying. So this is volume 8. I did not get all 8 volumes in one month, so I'll show the artwork for volume 8. And there's the artwork. Written by Greg Rucka, and the artist here is Michael Lark. Colors by Santi Arcas. Next one completely fell under my radar. I knew it was coming out, and then it's kind of completely forgot about it. And that is Sylvian Runeberg and Mirka Andolfo's Under York. Sylvian being the writer, and then Mirka Andolfo being the artist. Now, what's funny about this one is that there's actually a localization, and it's done by Steve Orlando. Now, apparently, this is a French comic. Sylvian is a French writer, so I imagine it's a translation, but also localization, be like changing like some of the signs, like a sign it's in French, or it doesn't make any sense to people who aren't in France. They make it make sense, like Steve Orlando writes in a little thing, so it's so for context reasons. Either that, or it just means translations. I don't know, but I was flipping through the book today when I first got it, and I noticed that. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Now, this does collect, technically, the first 2 issues, spit on the book, the first 2 issues of the series, but obviously the 2 issues, it's not like with Brave and Fireworks, where the paper quality is just so much better. None of that. It's just the first 2 issues. I think it never completed its run. Well, here it is, the complete run. Now, what's kind of funny about this book is that on Image Comics' official website, who publishes this book, it shows it as Under York Volume 4. But there's no volumes 1 through 3. This is all of Under York. So there's clearly a misprint or a typo on their part. But Under York, first 2 issues, that's about it. Show the artwork for Under York. And I know very little about this series. It showed up, and it was the only thing that I needed from this author from Image. It's like, all right, let's get it. Seems to be a new and up and coming writer, because the only other 2 things that I was seeing that he did different comics, only took other 2 comics in his bibliography haven't even come out yet. So it's kind of interesting to find that out. But Under York, and not published by Image, by the way, other publishers. This Ends Tonight, written by Gerry Duggan, Kelvin Mao, and Robert Wyndham, with artwork done by Jay Lee. This is the other book that creative team, excluding Gerry Duggan, did, was Seven Sons. And the longest time, that was all that creative team had done. And then this one comes out of nowhere. It's a 3-issue miniseries. Actually, did not come out of nowhere. This was supposed to come out a long time ago, but it was put on indefinite hiatus while Gerry Duggan worked on his other series, and then same to the other writers and artists, I guess is what happened. I don't know exactly why there was such a long hiatus between announcement and official release, but there was. But we finally have the trade of all 3 issues of this miniseries. The story is Gerry Duggan, Kelvin Mao, and Robert Wyndham. Art Jay Lee. Color June Chung. I wonder if June Chung is always, almost always the colorist with Jay Lee's work. It's always you can always count on June Chung being the colorist. I was kind of thinking out loud there. But 1 through 3 of This Ends Tonight. These next, the rest of this comic haul, except for the book I'll be showing off, that's the when I bought again, for reasons that honestly, if you caught my complete December haul, you probably already know what it is. But anyways, the rest of these books, except for that one, are all written by the same author. That being Daniel Warren Johnson. First one up has a huge blemish that I hate, and it's not as noticeable, but it's right here. Just kind of got bunched up. Not water damage. It looks like someone stepped on it. Like someone said in the package, and then it seeps through, kind of thing. But this is The Moon is Following Us, volumes 1 and 2. I should do it this way, right? Volumes 1 and 2. That's the way you do it, right? Just say it seems weird the other way around. But anyways, there's no official way of doing this. Just like right hand, you have the first volume. Left hand, you have the second volume. That's how it goes, right? I'm thinking out loud. But then I was thinking, what you see first is, I don't know. But anyways, all 10 issues across 2 volumes. Volume 1 collecting 1 through 5, and Volume 2 collecting 6 through 10. Now, another thing I want to mention is that the library has Volume 1, so I'll just be reading their copy of it. But I know it's not that bad of a blemish. Honestly, it's worse than, it's better inside than it looks on the cover. The cover makes it look like it's awful, and it's just an awful, annoying blemish, and then reading it's going to be a bit annoying. But no, it's not. That's why I said it looks like someone stepped on it, because the cover makes it almost look like water damage. Inside, it's almost like, no, someone stepped on it, and then they just picked it up, and then, that happened. But at the end of the day, why are we getting books like this? They're in this condition that are brand spanking new from Amazon? Amazon's such a huge monopoly of a company. They really can't afford. And what's annoying about this is this was in package. It was in plastic. It was inside plastic. So they had, honestly, no real excuse that they have any blemishes. If anything, Volume 2 should have the blemish. It didn't have anything protecting it. Just that cardboard, that thin cardboardy bubble paper wrap that they use. It's not cardboardy. It's like construction paper almost, I guess you could call it. But anyways, honestly, I'd rather have that than nothing. But, because at least you are trying. But anyways, The Moon is Following Us. Written, damn it, more blemishes. Written, some fucking butterfingers. Written by Daniel Warren Johnson, with artwork done by Riley Rossmo, was the co-creator and also the artist, and then Mike Spicer doing the colors. those of you who know Daniel Warren Johnson will definitely know of Mike Spicer. The good thing about this book, too, by the way, the little blemish, is that flipping through it, none of the pages stick together because it's like, cut into it. I've had that happen with books before. But yeah, I'll flip through it manually. Yeah, it's fine. And honestly, right here, it's less egregious. But unfortunately, I think it's throughout the entire book. Yeah, it really is. But less egregious as it goes on. Still annoying, though. Don't get me wrong. If I had the patience, or if I should... It's one of the first books I got, so I probably should have gotten a replacement. But here's why I actually didn't. Because of the snow, Amazon's refuses to come up our driveway sometimes. So it was already a day late. So at this point, I was like, I'm just going to get the books. I don't care. Oh, a little blemish here? Whatever. I'm not waiting another day for them just to not come to the driveway and wait another day. And then... Even if this is 1 day shipping, for a replacement, you have to wait 2 days. Even though it comes from the same exact place as the other book would, if you just bought it yourself again. Very weird, but oh well. Maybe next month I'll buy another copy of Volume 1. Probably not, though. I'm going to try and really stick to my guns on these blemishes that don't really matter, but are still blemishes. I'm going to check on the back here, make sure it is just 1 through 5. Beautiful. And then I'm pretty sure Volume 2 is 6 through 10. Beautiful. Alright, good. This next one I actually have read, and that is Space Mullet. Yet again, written by Daniel Warren Johnson, but he does everything, I think, for this series. This graphic novel, OGN. Yeah, story and art by Daniel Warren Johnson. And it's in black and white with, like, some blue tints here and there, so no real colorist to be credited. Not really, at least. This series is my first foray into Daniel Warren Johnson's work other than Wonder Woman Dead Earth. And as much as it's going to piss off fans of that series, I kind of don't remember a lot what happened in that series. I just remember it being investing and as good as they were saying it was. On the second time around, I was kind of annoyed by it. But I'm going based off how I felt about it the first time. I think the second time I was just not in the mood to read something like that. I don't know how else to describe it other than describing it like that. But that's how I felt. So this really is my first introduction into his work that I'm going to remember. And I feel after like even a month. And it was really damn good. I really enjoyed this one. It was kind of simplistic. When you compare it to Superstar, when you compare it to something like Wonder Woman Dead Earth, it is kind of simplistic, but it also is just as good as his other work has been. Some very emotional moments here and there, and some moments I was really surprised at. So definitely recommend, definitely check this one out, and I think we need to support more of these thicker trades at a agreeable price from Image. This is $20 for a 250-page trade. Can't go wrong there. And it's also an OGN, so it's not like you can get the issues somewhere else. No, it's all one. It's $20. Now, one thing I did expect to have happen is that Amazon would give me the Dark Horse printing, because it was originally published under Dark Horse, but then republished under Image. But thankfully, I got the Image Comics trade. Now, a trade I wish I got in hardcover, but waited too damn long for, is Murder Falcon. This collects all 8 issues of Murder Falcon, but not the additional story from Skybound X. I have it digitally, though, but not physically in an oversized hardcover. That's just going to have to be something that I deal with, because I'm not paying $40 for the oversized hardcover. eBay or other sellers probably had it at a better price, and it's probably just Amazon scalpers, because they find out, oh, it's not on Amazon Prime no more, you can't do Prime shipping. Well, third-party seller. Alright, let's buy up the last of the Wonder Book copies and sell ours at $43, and it's used good. You know? So I was like, yeah, not doing that. So, writer and artist, Daniel Warren Johnson. Colorist, Mike Spicer. It makes it very easy just to say, like, oh, that's who it is, and then that's it. A lot of his books kind of have that same look to them, which I think is really cool. You know, it's not that hard to do because it's his artists. You know, they have a type. You know, Steve Ditko is never gonna look like Alex Ross. I get that, but it's one of those things. Like you can tell that I'll already tell it's Daniel Warren Johnson by the artwork. Now, one thing I did not get is Ghost Fleet. He uses the artwork for that. I don't count that. It's everything he's written that I want. And then, last but not least, until I get to the other book that you'll see as soon as you hear it, I stuck that like that, is Extremity. Weird not blemish, but with the binding. I don't know how to show this off, but it was like I'd open it and then I couldn't. Like it was like, why isn't it closing right all the way like every other hardcover does? And honestly, I had kind of an epiphany. I'm like, what if every hardcover is like that, but I just don't notice it? So I honestly wondered to myself if that was the case here. This is all 10 issues of Extremity. I did not get the near mint condition alternate cover, variant cover. Obviously was too late to the game with that one. And I also had to get through cheap graphic novels, and I had a bad experience with them once, so it's a once and never again kind of deal for me. Obviously, I'm going to eventually buy from them again. Yeah, see? That's the thing. If you open it and then it's like it doesn't close all the way. It's a very weird little blemish. I can't tell what it is. I think it's just the interior pages. I don't know. But the binding is fine, thankfully. But yeah, it's kind of a weird blemish on this book. Not a blemish, but a weird binding error kind of thing, however you call it on this book. Nothing agrees. Nothing I'm all pissed off about at all. It's not a PX again, but it's kind of weird. But yeah, it comes out even more. I don't know if you can see it. There you go. Like that. It's weird. But yeah, Extremity. I believe this is all 10. Yep, all 10. Oh no, 12. Sorry, all 12 issues of Extremity. 12 issues. 12 issues, 12 issues. 12 issues in an oversized hardcover. And then that is it for the books that I got that you haven't seen before. I did end up buying a second copy of a book that I got last month. Those of you who saw last month's comic haul probably already know what it is. And I'm probably going to keep the new copy in the packaging wrap. So last month I did not notice, but I had an entire video where there was toothpaste right here on actually these exact ironically enough, this exact flannel. Somehow, even though I'm looking at myself right now via the camera, I didn't notice it. And then I was showing off the books. Thankfully, there was only 2 books that this showed off on. And I already was doing a second copy of one of the volumes in this series, so I have 2 copies of Manifest Destiny. I'm not going to say how many issues to collect. I already shown this one off, but yeah, I still have it in the packaging wrap. I'm probably going to keep it in the packaging wrap. So what ended up happening was I was able to like wipe off the toothpaste just fine, and I took like a little wet wipe to it. Not wet wipe, the lens wipe to it recently. I was able to get the excess off of it. And I see something on here. It's like, is that part of the packaging wrap, or is that... That's weird. I want to open it and see. It looks like some the pages. No, that's what it is. I think at least. No, it's inside the book. It's something's in it. It's weird. But anyways, Manifest Destiny Volume 1. I got 2 copies of the same book. Volumes 1 and 2. You guys want to know why I don't usually do that? That's why. It wasn't that bad a price, but I definitely didn't need to do that. I didn't mind doing it, but I definitely didn't need to do that. Volume 2, the second copy, was at a really good price, though. And it was Amazon shipping, so it was supposed to be fast, because it was the holidays. It was a bit longer than it should have been. That, as I say, is that. 12 comics if you include that, but really 11.